Hey, good morning. Welcome to Podcast from the Pit. With me, as always, is Hillbilly.
Yeah.
And for the first time to the pit, Uncle Clutch and Lady Spartan.
Good morning.
Hey,
Nice to
Welcome.
have you too.
thanks.
Yeah.
See,
This is good.
we did one up on Joe A-Raw. We got the whole team.
Yep, I was saving that for you. You know that. So
Yeah.
Well, it's very nice to have you all.
Yeah.
It's going to be a special Hillbilly-led edition of
Oh boy.
Podcast from the Pit, which is always fun for me because I get to sit back and focus on the chat.
And make fun of my language.
It's not hard. Let's see who's in the chat real quick, then we'll get started. Gotta scroll. And everybody who showed up last night, I am so sorry. I set that up wrong. We got Mr. A-Raw starting us off.
Good morning, Joseph. What?
And our good friend Wes, what's up?
Hey, Wes.
Bob, good morning, Bob.
Morning, Bob.
And Todd, how are you today?
Hey, Todd.
Paul Morales, good morning.
Hey.
Jezza, good morning. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Paul. Thank you. Yorktown, good morning. Let's see. Oh, Ahoy Wreck Ship.
Hey, Wreck Ship. I don't know how to whiplash you, but
Peter Moline, good morning. And thank you. And Ronnie. I think Ronnie's had a few beers already. Always good to see you.
yeah. Ronnie is in Australia.
Representing for Ronnie right here.
Yep.
One in Toys, good morning. Oh, happy birthday to our favorite GI grandpa.
Wow.
Actually, my granddaughter is here this weekend, so that is awesome. Thank you, Yorktown. Yes, you do. Let's see. Oh, and James, good morning.
Morning, James.
Nice shot of the Ram cycle.
All right. Pretty good start. It's early.
Casey
Go ahead,
says some
Hillbilly.
cat's out of the bag. I have something. I got to do it.
If you start singing, I will pause you.
Okay.
I will mute you. I had to listen to your happy birthday to
Adam Baum.
ABC, and I was like, 2 seconds in, click. Can't do it, man. Can't do it.
Thanks, man.
No problem.
You got one coming this afternoon, so
I'll do the same to it. So, I appreciate all the happy birthdays. I really do. I'm just, even though I'm turning 54 today, I still feel like a kid with
you're
my
just a
hobby
baby.
and my friends. The only thing that keeps me from feeling like a kid totally is the diabetes and congestive heart failure. So,
I get it.
but good with the bad.
Yeah. So.
And I believe Ronnie right here. He would unsubscribe if you.
Wow, he's going all the way. He's leaving the show.
Well, I won't do that then.
Thanks,
But,
James. All right, so Billy, what do you want to do next?
Well, you got anything for show and tell?
Sure, of course. This guy is officially finished. His name is Powder Keg. He is a Dreadnought, former Snow Serpent, who stole the board and customized it himself. And In Powder Keg's universe, there is Star Wars, there is Batman. He's got Harley Quinn on his board. He's got a Mandalorian tattoo. He took some of the Snow Serpent gear and some of the Dreadnought gear and combined it. He likes to get a little bit of sun on himself while he's cruising down the slopes. And as you can see, he's got a lot of canister grenades. He likes to chuck grenades at people on the slopes, at the Snowcat, etc. He's not a fan of the Joes and kind of no longer a fan of Cobra. He just stole the gear when he left. So I just finished him officially, drying and kind of doing the last little touches. Lady Spartan here gave me some thoughts on the knee pads. Needed to not be full white because his snow pants were looking a little boring. So I put him back in the lab and fixed some stuff up. And his goggles come off so he can be, face out there with his little frosted tips, which is a Quicksilver head, a Pietro, or if I'm saying that right. Sorry to all the Russians. And then this guy here is yet unnamed. He is, if either one of you want to take a stab at who that is first, or who that was.
He did a great job with modifying his head, though.
Ripcord.
I would say
Casey, you went robotic on us, buddy.
You came in broken. So I want to hear your guess.
Can't hear you, buddy. You're all nope. But that's a really cool figure.
So he is he's a nomad. So Evil Dookie, I've been watching a lot of his stuff when I'm on the treadmill or whatever, and kind of learning about bike clubs. Crash 2427, you are correct. That is Flint, the new issue Flint. The whole upper body is Flint except for Gung Ho's vest. What I did was I sanded off the sides of his hair with some sanding sticks. So pro tip, the sanding sticks do work, but they have a shelf life. Once you sand, they become basically pieces of chalk that won't write. So you just throw them away. But the points are great around the ears. Gave him the head tats. Obviously, I made his hair red and then darkened it just a little to show that he did dye his hair. I cut grooves into his face and arms with my Dremel tool, gave him light tattooing. And as you can see on his cut, again, learning from Evil Dookie there, the 3-piece cut, he is a Dreadnought nomad, which means he reports directly to Zartan. And when there's a problem in a charter, he comes to solve it. Now, you might get the knife, you might get the bat. He is also going to have a machete and a rifle. And I've got a bike coming for him so that he can get around to those different charters. I'm very heavily into the Dreadnoughts, as everybody knows. I will do some Joe stuff. And I did actually do a redo of Doc because I don't feel like that cool. Doc, Gung Ho, and Snowjob showed up in the clothes to the pit that they showed up to in the battle. Gung Ho was barely dressed. Snowjob was in his snowsuit and Doc was in all tan. In my world, they came in as recruits and they were wearing the OD green. So I kind of modified Doc, gave him some Valaverse gear.
I like that.
He does have a pistol. He's allowed to defend himself. He doesn't have a flare gun or a taser. My medics don't tase patients. He's got some medical gear. He does have a knife, which is more for utility field surgery. And he's got a backpack and straps, which he did not have when I posted him on Instagram the other day. He just had a satchel, and I wasn't liking how the satchel was riding. And Lady Spartan kept calling it a purse. And I didn't like that. I took that personal. So, and Doc kind of took it a little personal too. Like, he did take his glasses off part of the way. Like, I thought there was going to be a fight, and I was like, this dude seems chill, but he also may be like, what's the guy there that Samuel Jackson played?
I need more.
I can't remember where he's like, shut your mouth. We'll remember. Somebody in the comments. Shaft. I thought Doc was about to go Shaft on Lady Spartan when she started saying he had a purse, and I was like,
I'm here to heckle and also be helpful sometimes.
That's right. Heckling and helpful. Hey. There's a real thin line there.
I'm like, who's going to go out in the snow with no sleeves on and a mid, a cropped vest? I mean,
Gung Ho.
No, I'm saying he's in.
Who's going to snowboard down the slopes? Come on.
He's supposed to be Russian, right?
Well, Pietro's Russian. I don't know.
I was going to say maybe he's just used to that.
We have not written his full profile yet, so
I was like, sorry, man, but you're going to be cold.
And an upcoming project. an upcoming project that's kind of in the secret lab that I discussed with Joe Ara last night, right before I went to bed, so I could be fresh for this podcast. We were talking about how Mainframe and Zorana's relationship has been really pumped up a lot. And I said, what would he look like as a Nox? I saw something on Facebook and I was like, you were almost there, but not quite. Still too clean and neat. I said, do we do full knock? I said, knock him out, or do we go like a slow progression? So him and I tossed around a couple of ideas. And as always, I try to use surplus gear that is from other projects to, if I can make 2 or 3 guys from like 1 or 2 guys, that's like such a win, both financially and mentally. And so I will tell you, Mainframe will be knocked out very soon, and he's going to look awesome.
I think for Mainframe, just like a slow progression would be cool.
Right, because he was a former Marine, so he's got that straight lace thing, and then also, he's a techie guy, he's a nerd, right? And I bought Mainframe just to strip the gear off him because I needed it for other projects. So I've got him basically disassembled in a baggie, and I heard everybody talking about, he's too short, this, that, and the other. And I told Joe last night, I said, I can make him taller. That's just another set of legs. Like I can do that surgery very easily.
So that's one of my questions I had for you. How do you go about customizing these figures? Because for me,
Eric,
yes.
did we finish the what do we got in this week before you get into the questions?
Yeah, sorry, I got excited.
Do I sound better?
Yes, you sound great. What do you got, Casey?
You don't have anything?
I've got Night Force Snake Eyes.
Let's see what he looks like up close.
That's good representation there, yeah.
This is from Level 7 Toys. It's a resin print commando, and I just put a flat black paint on it. That's all I did. I can't put it down. It is such a good figure. His wrists even swivel.
What would you have given for that kind of movement in the 80s, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd have pushed somebody's grandparents down a flight of steps.
Wow, man, you're savage.
But what you got, Casey?
See, I still got a whole box of Motu I haven't showed off yet, but I will do that eventually.
Got a pile of stuff right there.
But
I know about Paula stuff. Trust me.
I got Hit and Run yesterday.
Nice.
He might be about the only one I want out of that wave, but because I always liked him. And I showed these off Wednesday, but I got to show them off again.
Those are cool, man.
I think I need one more for a leader.
Yeah.
I'll explain those later. Hit and Run looks cool. He was always one of my favorites, especially coming out later in the line and still being camouflaged and tactical. And I just thought very simple, but like I was like, this dude's awesome. It kind of reminded me of like why I wanted to go in the military, to put on camo face paint and like, climb up mountains and stuff, which you don't really do a lot of.
You would look good with your blowback. But have you all seen the Valaverse blowback? He's got like the ghillie suit. His face is all painted up. It's a really good figure.
I made a run out of him.
Whenever I first got him, I was like, this is what Hit and Run should look like. And he's one of my favorite. I don't have very many 6-inch figures, but he's one of my favorites that I do have. So, anything else, or let's jump into the questions.
I just want to say to White Mike, I actually found both of mine at Targets. So that was pretty exciting to actually find something in a store. It makes me feel like a kid again.
It's a win, man. You always feel like you just beat out the entire human race. You like wheel into that aisle and you're like, yeah, no one else is getting this. Ha ha.
And each time it was the only one there. So yes.
That makes good. That's a sweet win. That's a sweet walk to the register right there, right?
Yep. And
like the whole way, every mail you pass, you think if this guy's coming in for a Joe, he's about to have a tearful moment on the toy aisle, and you just kind of feel superior in every way. That's just me.
I want to say good morning to Max.
Hey, Max.
I haven't set it up yet, but me and him are doing live unboxings today of our Star Trek nacelle figures that we both just received this week. So we're going to do that at 3 p.m. I'll set that up later if anybody wants to watch that.
Okay.
Should be fun. He's going to stream it on his channel too. So, Joe, Amazing Stories, good morning. Oh, he got them from Target too. Nice. Toys in a store, yes, it's a rarity.
Yeah.
I'm with Bob. My Target's always looking pretty grim, and my Ross and Ollie's, I would just rather burn the buildings down. So
It is insane. You know, I go back to when I was a kid and they had toy aisles. You know, this whole aisle is almost G.I. Joe. This whole aisle is almost Motu.
Yeah.
Or as I called it back then, He-Man.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like my Walmart has dinosaurs, wrestling figures, and something called Skibbity Toilet.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no.
And yes, 3 p.m. Eastern, because that's the only time zone, Eastern.
Yes. That's the best time zone.
What everything's based on, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, good morning, Larry, and thank you.
Hey, Larry.
All right. So
Close that all the way.
I do have I don't know what order Eric wants to go in, but I do have a slideshow. I haven't even seen it. Our good
ain't
friend Joe A-Raw put together for you guys, but I figure we'll let Eric ask some questions first.
Yeah.
Then we can roll into that.
So, how did you get started collecting?
Like most kids, I saw the commercial as a child and basically harassed my mother to take me to the local store, which I lived in a very small town in Rhode Island because my dad was in the Navy. And we went to a store called Zayre's, Z-A-Y-R-E. The building is still there, but it has changed hands into, you know, who is in it several times. I think now there's a Home Depot in that lot because I was in Rhode Island recently. And we went there and it was kind of like Casey was describing, like there was a whole aisle of like Star Wars and G.I. Joe toys. And I was just like, oh, dear Lord. I was like, I found the Holy Grail all by myself. And then, you know, I thought I was going to get everything I wanted to put my hands on. I ended up only walking away with the Ram Cycle and Rock and Roll. Because, you know, a lot of people are like, their favorite was Snake Eyes. I am a commando at heart. You know, obviously I joined up to be one. But Rock and Roll just was cool to me because he had a blonde beard and he had crisscross belts. And I thought, this guy's about something. And I don't know what he's about, but I want to be about it too. And I thought I wanted to carry a machine gun until I carried one on a 20-mile hike. And then I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm okay. You can have this back. I was like, I don't want to be rock and roll anymore. I'm going to stay myself. Thank you. So that's how I got into it. And then of course, saving money, doing extra chores, trying to get the entire line, you know, telling your parents you need the Mobat and the, you know, the HAL and all these toys for Christmas. And I was lucky that I was an only child. So I did do fairly well at Christmas time. My dad went pretty big on that. I got the hovercraft one year and you never got a flag. So I wasn't one of those kids, you know, that people can hate and be like, oh, he was one of those flag kids. No, I didn't have one of those. My dad told me I did not need a Sky Striker because he said, you're not Air Force. And I don't know if that was because he was in the Navy, but I think he just didn't want to buy it. So he was just shutting me up, you know. So I stayed with it as long as I could. And I think long about the time I started discovering girls, I kind of put that up for a bit. And, you know, that was it until the classified line came out. And I started kind of going,
So, do you collect any other lines or just the classifieds?
When everything first came out, I kind of toyed around a little bit with some Mythic Legion stuff and some Star Wars stuff, but due to room, and then when I kind of got into customizing, I turned everything else into fodder or cash generation for the main collecting and fodder. So I think, yeah, it started at a funnel. And then it went down into the tube of the funnel of just, okay, we're sticking with the Joe stuff. Now, anything that relates to it directly, like the Vala lines for military figures, I'm in with that. You know, I've borrowed stuff from Apex Legends and Fortnite for, you know, troop building or, you know, the mechanics of what I need. But yeah, I'm basically just building like the ultimate Joe, Cobra, and Dreadnought fighting forces.
That's cool.
See, I'm the exact opposite. I got into collecting again I think 2018. Me and my buddy Matt, who started podcasting the pit with me, who might make an appearance today. Let's hope. We were straight Joe. It was right before Classified came out. So as soon as Classified came out, we started getting those. Now, he jumped out of Classified early. I kept the Classifieds I wanted and traded the rest for credit, where I got a whole bunch of classic Motu classics, which were hard to find for me. And no regrets. I still buy Classified, obviously, but they have to be figures I want.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not out to do. I'm not completionist on anything.
I'm not either.
So collecting my Joe turned into Joe, Motu, Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, Valverse, Delta 17. Just too Operation Monster Force, just Marvel Legends. I've got a problem.
Yeah.
Or what did Joe say?
It's a disease. You got a disease, man.
Yeah.
I can't help it.
I got it too, so it's okay.
So me, I started out with, my first Joe was Breaker in 82. And from there, I got into Motu, and I got out. I discovered comic books. So I just
Wow.
Yeah, I never thought about that, Ronnie. Good shirt choices I picked. I guess.
You look like a floating head.
Yay! Nobody wants to see that at 8 a.m. in the morning. But I got out of toys for comic books, and then around early 2000s, I was at a toy show, and I seen like a whole booth of G.I. Joe. I was like, huh. I picked up the Flint. I had Flint as a kid. He was one of my favorites. I was like, I got to get this. And then I seen the Snake Eyes version 3. I was like, ooh, I never had this. I got to get it. So they sat on my shelf, and I was collecting mainly Batman action figures and Green Lantern and stuff. And then it kind of like, I discovered a show called HCC 788. And I started collecting the little guys again. And then I was listening to Casey and Matt on their podcast. I was like, ooh. And I got some classified, and I quickly found out that my Walmart won't carry classified, so it's very hard for me to buy. And I was like, I'll just get the ones I like. And now I tinker in customizing the 3 3/4 inch O-rings. I love O-rings. That's my downfall, and I also like the classifieds in 6-inch. So how do you go about breaking down and customizing a classified figure?
So a lot of times I will see a figure and see something else in it. I think one of the attributes I got in life was a gift of good imagination. I'll see something and say, okay, what can this become? Or what things are useful to something else? Like I said, just last night talking about the mainframe idea, you look at mainframe, he's pretty, he looks how he's supposed to look. He's got the uniform, he's got the electronics, and I just was like, okay, what if he was muscular? What if he had tattoos? What if he had jeans and boots? I start thinking in the realm that I want to move him to. Then I say, okay, phase 2, what do I need to make this happen? Do I have parts? Do I have pieces? Am I going to need to cut, paint, glue, Dremel, etc.? And obviously at first, and Casey had mentioned the slideshow. There's some stuff where at first I was kind of like, I didn't know certain things that I didn't know, so it was limited, or even probably prohibitive for some of the things I wanted to do. But the ideas were still there and generating. Kind of like when we said Blowback could be hit and run. Okay, sure, but he has to, in my mind, have very similar gear. He has to have a similar vibe. Where are we going to source that stuff from? And I think the market has driven to a lot of people who want to be completionists and people who want to tear stuff apart and make new stuff. because a lot of people say, oh, well, Valaverse is putting out the same type of figure. It's just wearing different uniforms. I'm like, cool, because I need those parts. So like that, he's not stupid. Like he knows he's getting money from collectors. He's getting money from kit bashers and customizers. So, why not milk both sides of that market? And for me, it's just like a lot of times I'll write down an idea. I might be at work and I'll just be like having an idea. I might be getting ready to go to sleep and I'll be like, So I'll either put it in my phone, put it in my notebook, and then start saying, okay, what do I have? What do I need? What's the plan? What's the color scheme? And then usually as I get towards the end, that's where I kind of start saying, I need to do more of this or more of that, or like, I need to add a grenade here or add a tattoo here, or I don't like this, let me buff it off. And then every once in a while, even I'll get something and I'll be like, I don't like this, I'm taking it apart and just scrap it. Just reading Ronnie's Dremel.
But
well, you got to come to America for the good health care. No, probably not.
I don't deal well with dentists. But that's interesting because with me, if I'm going to do an O-ring figure, I completely tear it apart and put him on little pegs, and I'll primer him, and I'll be like, okay, what do I want to do here? Or the bashing, I'm starting to understand bashing a little bit. And it's hard for me to see the patterns, but that's interesting that you can look at that and see what you need to do or think about what you're wanting to do. Who's your
I do have a
favorite
little help.
Yeah.
From her. Sometimes I'll ask her questions and just get an outside perspective. And then also I will sometimes run an idea through my AI assistant Capone, and I'll say, here is what he's been fully educated on like what Dreadnoks, Joes, and Cobras are. And I'll say, okay, we're making a Cobra agent. And he'll be like, go, tell me what and I'll say, here's some pictures of something. Here's a figure. Give me a rendering. And like a lot of times when the rendering is given to me, I will build to match the rendering. Or I will say, I don't like what you did there. Change the head, change the, and I'll say, I want it to look more like, a person from Texas, or I want it to look more like a taller guy. Show me what he'd look like, more muscular or whatever. And I will use that to help me carve the initial idea. But I do like you do. I take things apart and paint. I putty everything before I paint it to cover holes and pegs. I'll boil and pop stuff, and I'm always going to have like when I showed Doc, right? I took apart a green shirt and I took apart a Doc, and the result is a big pile of gear, which is why I wish they would make accessory packs, because sometimes people need stuff that they're not going to get from a kit basher. Like I have 3 stretchers that I don't need from Doc. I'm not setting up a MASH unit, but I use Doc. He is a great builder figure. So when I look at Doc, I see Doc and I see all the things I can make with his parts, because he's got the cool belt. He's got the plate carrier that a medic would not wear that in most cases unless he was getting, repeatedly shot at or shelled. He's got the long pants that droop over the boots, which very few of our Joes have. I think Shipwreck and Doc are 2 of the few, and Mainframe. So it's always like, what is he going to help me build in another realm? Like a non-military pair of pants. That's Dreadnought pants. That's just dye or paint.
Crash, I do not pop the rivets, because my tight, whenever I tighten stuff back up, is generally too tight, and I don't want to crush it whenever I'm putting them back in.
Hey,
what's going on?
What's up,
Well,
man?
happy birthday, buddy.
Appreciate it.
Matt.
Appreciate it. Tell your daughter happy birthday as well.
I'll do that.
But yeah.
So how you guys doing?
Doing well.
Doing well. Learning how to make custom classified figures.
Well, keep going. I'll sit back and enjoy.
Ken said he's just here for Matt.
Thanks, Ken.
Matt, you looking good, buddy. I missed you. If
Thanks.
you was here, I'd
A little
hug
tired, but
You
well,
sound tired.
Yeah.
No, I figured they're talking about him.
Yep.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know. Me and Matt started a podcast on the pit late 2018, I think.
Yep.
And so back then it was just a podcast, but we had a good time, and it's just kind of evolved over the years. Matt's a busy guy, and I'm not.
And then they invited me on, and I was the guest that never left.
Thanks, Ronnie.
But so, what is your favorite Joe and Cobra figures? Or
All right,
characters
let's see.
even?
Favorite Joe, bar none, Beachhead.
Okay.
I know Stalker was the first Ranger, but as you can clearly see, I'm a Caucasian fellow of Italian descent, so I couldn't really fully identify with Stalker. Not to mention the fact that the Rangers don't wear camouflage berets, so and I don't think I would look good with a pencil mustache. So I was kind of like, okay, can't identify with this guy. And I was actually in the Marines first, so I think when Gung Ho came along, I was like, okay, well, I'm not a giant Cajun either, so I hadn't really found my own niche. But when Beachhead came out, and I was like, okay, that could be anybody under that mask. That could be me. And he's wearing cool gear. And, I actually went into the Army and later became a Ranger. And, I kept thinking like foolishly that I'd get a cool ski mask and like, I'd have all these 9mm mags across my chest. That didn't happen. Sadly, it did not happen. And when I asked about it, I just was told to shut up and do push-ups. So, it is what it is. But I like his character.
Did you at least get a cool tomahawk?
I did not even get a cool tomahawk. No, I don't even think the option was to buy your own. Like that probably would have got taken away, much like my father took away tools and, weapons that I made as a child. I think I made a crossbow one time and was shooting out of the mail slot. They weren't sharp, but, I was shooting people as they walked by with like dull bolts. And, my father came downstairs and was like confiscated. And I was like, whatever happened to that stuff? And he's like, I don't know. I threw most of it away. So yeah, no tomahawks. Nowadays you can buy a tomahawk and carry it with you. So
nice.
Do you mostly roll your eyes? Like I am watching Bridgerton right now. Don't laugh. I tried to get him into it.
It's not historically accurate.
I'm entertained. I do. Yes, I do actively support him unless I step on something on the floor. That's my biggest gripe. I'm like, did I step on putty? Did I step on something that was like a grenade? Hey, it's better than stepping on a Lego.
Sharp plastic.
And then I go, is this garbage or is this actually something useful? And so I don't tend to throw anything away because I really do not know what happened. It might have just fell on the floor.
I work basically on what would be our table where we eat. So we actually will eat most of the time. You got to do what you got to do. So, I'm the kind of more on the administrative side. I mean, I enjoy, I do like the postcards. If anybody's seen those, I worked on those and, collaborated with him and stickers.
Eric knows that I told him, I was like, man, I've been fussing with chat, trying to make custom photos to actually match the figures that he's selling, which will include in with the figure once it sells or making some to sell at Joe Fest. So that's kind of magnet. Yeah. That's what I'm working on currently. So I certainly support him, and he has this wonderful creative imagination, and I'm trying to talk him into doing either like some kind of a comic book or a comic slide, but don't you get back in here. We're just not there yet. So maybe there's other individuals that might.
Or she has encouraged me to write some short stories regarding the knots that I've created and the charters and whatnot. So that may be coming. I'm not sure.
That would be cool.
It would be very cool. I mean, there's such a untapped area for dreadnoughts. You got your basic, 4 dreadnoughts. Then you got the brother, sister. But if you go deeper, then you get Burnout, Zanya, and a few others.
Right.
But I mean, it's supposed to be all over the world. So I mean, you could make. There's just no limit to what you could do.
And that's kind of what he's done, though. He's got like these different, charters in like Texas and Georgia and what?
I made the guy from New Mexico.
Yeah. All these like created from his own imagination, which are really awesome.
The real challenge that's been fun lately is taking Joes and turning them like straight into Knox, like Flint's head. The guy from New Mexico was built on a bazooka frame, and I just gave him like an evil goatee. kind of like how a lot of the guys in the Joe World sport. And a cowboy hat, a branding iron, which the branding iron was her idea. She's like, it'd be cool if he had like a branding iron or something. And I actually had a piece that I put on one of Lady J's spears, and he had a branding iron. He sold pretty quick. But so back to your question, favorite Cobra, probably Firefly. I thought it was cool that he was both, had ninja skills we hear, and that also he was a saboteur. The gray camo was cool. Obviously, I'm a fan of guys in balaclavas, and I liked that he wasn't a line trooper. He could work where he wanted to, and he didn't report directly in, and he worked alone a lot. And I think because being an only child, where I was in charge of all the armies I commanded, I kind of could relate to that loner mentality until I went into the military and became part of a larger unit, something bigger than myself. And for Dreadnoks, Casey had just mentioned the classics, the originals, and I would say Ripper. Ripper speaks to me in the raw, brutal violence and strength. Maybe go in punching first, ask questions later. In my youth, I was probably a little more of a hothead and never had a mohawk, although I wanted one a couple times. And I like that Ripper is just that larger than life. We're going to fight it out and figure it out later. I wasn't really into, fire like Torch was, and I couldn't relate to Buzzer with that long hair, ponytail, John Lennon glasses thing. So Ripper for me. I even liked Ripper over Zartan, because Zartan always was like, I don't know, this guy, he seems sketchy. Like I wouldn't get in the car with him,
It's confusing.
Yeah, that's just one of the many things. That's one of the many things wrong with that show. So I'm going to put that out there. So
Whoa.
Yeah.
I've never even heard of that show.
But now you're interested.
No, definitely not interesting.
You're not missing anything. I promise.
You know what? There's things that he watches that I won't watch very rarely.
He helped you out, Max. Prison's not a good place.
Yeah, he did you a favor.
Yeah. But that's basically all the pre-questions I had. So
You want to hit the slideshow?
Let's do it.
Let's hit slideshow.
Let's do it. Engage.
See, Matt, we've upped our game with slideshows, and we don't even have to make them. We got a guy for that.
Yeah.
Oh, look, it's us.
I like that. I better watch. I'll get fired.
I like the way we have headphones.
Yeah, I like the addition there.
This is all going to be a surprise to me. I've not even.
Yeah, me too.
I just got it uploaded right before the show.
Nice.
All right. So, do you want explanations?
Yes.
All right. So, obviously, far left was D-Day Commando. I went for Halloween one time, and have a nice little Uzi there that my father made a bullet belt out of Skillcraft pens that he probably stole from the Navy base. Which, now looking back, that's not accurate. That's like Bridgerton, right? It's not accurate at all. An Uzi does not use a bullet belt. But I got a lot of candy that year. So, being in a patriotic Navy-based town, I scored really well. That's probably mom's makeup under my eyes. I don't know where we stole the helmet net foliage from, but it was a good time. I remember that fondly. That's the apartment door we lived at, and I was posed in front of it. So the next picture, that's actually a real uniform. That is historically accurate. That is back when the Army Rangers wore the black beret, and I'm wearing an unauthorized black T-shirt in that photo there. We were supposed to wear our OD green, and I had just graduated Ranger Indoctrination phase, which was called RIP. It's now called RASP, which is Ranger Assessment and Selection Program, I believe, and it's a lot longer. I think mine was 3 grueling weeks. And
At the mall.
all right, we're going to get to Ronnie's question here. So yeah, that is our engagement photo. I personally like how my hair blends into the background. Kind of, we were talking about hillbillies
it's like
blending.
Olin Mills.
Yeah.
It does look Olin Mills, Ron.
Yes.
And Lynn had that 90s hair, which she had that hairstyle when I walked into the McDonald's to talk to a girl for a friend of mine. Yeah, I got that a lot before the beard. That's why the beard came on. People would say, "You know who you look like?" And I'd go, "Why don't you tell me?" and just wait. You'd be surprised how many people watch that show too. Some really heavy hitters would sometimes say that to me. When I worked in the jail as a deputy, I'd have some really hard gangbangers go, you look like that dude from Friends. How's Rachel? And I go, you watch that show, man? And they go, oh no, my girl does. And I was
It's
like,
good. It's a good show. I don't care what anybody says.
But yeah, so Lynn and I met in Rhode Island, and she was working in the McDonald's I had worked at as a kid and had moved on to another job. And I went in there and heard a Southern accent, and I was hooked for life, which she does not have anymore. It's faded, so sadly, but it's okay. And she had that 90s hair, and I don't know what's up with that shirt I was wearing. I think my mother bought that for me, so.
That is great.
Yes.
Oh man.
So yeah, that is a kind of the early years.
Yeah.
So
I went there a lot. I had to get my hair cut there, so that could explain some things. I was actually born in Norfolk, so I was born in Portsmouth Naval Hospital and lived in Norfolk right before I went to Italy, where I spent a few years in an Italian school, and then came back and went to Rhode Island. But I actually was also stationed in Norfolk as a Marine. I was with the Marine Security Forces Fleet Anti-Terrorist Security Team. So yeah, I did some cool shit back when I was young, I tell people.
Nice.
So funny story. Whenever my wife and I met, I was working at a McDonald's and she was coming in.
Ah, nice.
McDonald's helped so many people get together. I mean, really, they get a bad rap. It's a good place.
Yeah. I was making pizza at McDonald's.
Oh, you were there during that phase?
Wow. When
Yeah.
was that?
I was still in high school.
Yeah, the
Like in
beard
the-
story is always a fun story, but we don't have to go into that right now.
Okay.
So anyway, you were in high school and she walked in and you were working.
Yeah, I was unloading truck and I've been in a 14 below freezer all evening, and I come out and I didn't have my glasses on. All I seen was a white blur. And I got the eyes of a nearsighted hawk.
Okay.
One of my friends was a mutual friend with her, and he started trying to get us to talk, and I was like, this isn't going to work. And mainly because I really screwed up. One of our mutual friends one day, he's like, there she is. And I tried to call her and I couldn't get her. So I went out to meet her. And I went up to talk to her. I was like, hey, I tried to call you last night. And the girl looked at me and said, I'm Shelly. That's Shannon. I was talking to her sister. From my viewpoint, the only person I could see was her sister. I was like, okay, I'm going to go stick my head in the deep fryer now. You all have a great day. But
oh my goodness. Do you want the beard story? I mean, I can make it
yes.
quick. Yes.
Yes.
I really was opposed to the beard, and like he'd try to grow it, and then I'd be like, it would just like feel like sandpaper, you go in to kiss, like, it's like, ugh. And so like he'd try to grow it and then he'd shave it, and it was like it kind of went back and forth. And then I think, I don't remember, there was one time I was like, I really just want you to shave your beard. I actually paid him to shave it.
It was quite a nice bribe. I got a nice bottle of rum. This was before I was a bourbon guy. I got battle ropes for the gym, and I think I got some hard cash. So I'm a strong negotiator.
I was quite desperate for him to shave it, and then he finally like figured out, I guess, how to like get it kind of like softened up and grow it in. And then, you know what? I was getting used to it. And then I don't know if you decided to shave it. Or
you said it would be nice if you just had a little stubble, and I shaved it, and you came home and said, I think I missed the beard. And I was like,
did. And he was like, he completely shaved it. And I was like, I kind of like you with the beard. And he was like, I know he's probably thinking like, what the hell?
So before all the tattoos that I couldn't afford while I was both a soldier and a cop, I got all my ink when I was in a real job making real money. But I had to patrol like this. I looked like a child. Do you know how many people fought me when I was a cop? Everybody's like, I can take that guy. And I was like, all right, let's give it a shot. I'm going to fight dirty. And people were like, why do you get so many fights? I was like, I don't know, because I look like I'm 13, So.
Anyway, the beard is here to stay. I love the beard. He did do a mustache for a costume one year, and he shaved it early. And I was like, I'm not going anywhere in public with you. You look like it was, you know,
You didn't want to get in my van.
I didn't write. I was like, man.
But what she's leaving out is that she begged me to do the costume because
I think he would have. It's like, dude, you'll make a great Freddie Mercury.
I was Freddie Mercury and she was a cat, and I rocked it. I built my own microphone. I had the jacket, the whole thing. But I went into the grocery store and I smiled at a woman as I was passing her. You smile at people, and she went,
right.
And I was like,
that's what mustaches
that's not
do.
Good. That's not good. I'm freaking people out. So yeah, no mustache. Some people can rock it. I'm not one of them.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I see you got some new pictures up here. Okay, so there's Flash, who we're still waiting on. You know, I guess he's MIA.
Yeah.
He's in a Cobra POW camp somewhere, and Hasbro won't release him.
That is
afraid
great.
to.
That's a
Right?
great custom right there. I love that.
I don't know what I was doing with the shin pads there. They're from Valaverse holsters, and I don't know why I didn't fill that in and paint that red or something. Like I said, this was an early custom. The bicep protectors are from gauntlets on the Viper. That's a Grunt's vest backwards, which made a great red plate carrier. I had actually sent some pictures to Joe of the back of the backpack, but he had limited space, I know. But the backpack I basically made from different parts to make it look like a laser is coming out of here. Obviously, all of you recognize the Viper rifle, which I just think is cool and on its own. But I put that cable to it. I believe Wolf Spider donated some of the body parts, and I ordered the helmet from Gridiron. And then we have my blowback version of Hit and Run. And again, a helmet from Gridiron, got the rope from Shipwreck, and the vest I actually built from pieces that I had and started cutting and paste. That's when I learned I could build chest rigs if I just was patient enough. And he sold a long time ago because obviously there was no hope of a hit and run in our early years. So, and that's the thing too, is like once you build something as a custom and then it comes out, I'll never build it again because there's just no point. I built a few monkey wrenches. I built a couple of Zanzibars. The second one I was really happy with because I got a custom head from somebody. I'm not great at painting faces yet, so getting there. But I told Lady Spartan here, I said, I'm not going to make another monkey wrench because they did one and it's pretty cool. So it's like, why would I do that? Same thing with Zanya. I've made 6 Zanyas, but I'm not going to make another one because there's one coming out. So there's no point. Now I may buy 2 and tear one apart and make it better. That's kind of the motto of the corporation here is we make figures that don't exist yet, and ones that do, we make them better. So, have I taken something apart and made it better? Of course, that's why Doc is better. Because I didn't like how he looked, but I stole all his gear. So that kind of brings us up to date on those slides.
Okay.
All right. Let's see.
Yep. We were just talking about this. Okay. So yeah, there's Zanzibar. I feel like he looks more like River Pirate than like Garbage Scow Driver. But anyone want to take a guess where that head came from? Casey might be able to get it.
I can't hardly see it.
No, I don't. Looks
That's
like
a
oh shoot, what's his name? I give up. He's a Marvel character. I can't think of his name.
All right, you're not near the mark, but I'll get us there. So that is the alternate head that came with the new Man at Arms.
Oh,
I see it now.
Yeah, the eye patch is painted on. But yeah, I thought that head was so cool. And obviously I didn't do the hair black because that was at a time when my small brush paint skills were not there. So I was like, you know what? He's going to have brown hair. That's fine. Were you into doing customs on the Lord's scale? I don't know. You mean like religious ones? I'm not sure.
118.
Oh, no, too small. I would probably just lose my mind and smash the figure on the ground and walk off in disgust. I'm leaving those alone. Those are fine. In fact, if anyone, I'm on the hunt for a cover girl for her Wolverine. I need a 118 cover girl for the Wolverine that's hidden in a drawer because it can't be out without a driver for
I know where
cover girl / Lady Spartan here. So yeah, I gave him some gear. He's got shipwreck legs, shipwreck rope. Some of the gear came from Collectible Carnage on Etsy, and same thing for Monkey Wrench there in the middle. I think the same pair of pants. The neckerchief tied around the leg, I did that with twine and painted it and burned it and cut it. And I was like, okay, this was so tedious. I'm not giving him one on the second leg. Again, artist conception. He's just going to have one.
Right.
On the back of him, he does have a Firefly explosives pack. And I think somebody had asked me on Joe Ara's podcast, did I ever fire a Trident gun? Because I made a point of letting people know I've fired most of the weapons that the Joes have or are around. No Trident gun, sadly. Also, no Cobra pulse rifles that I have been aware of. Nothing in the 40-watt range. That's for the extra nerds out there. And then, of course, we have Buzzer and Ripper in their Viper garb. That was pretty simple kit bash. I thought it was just fun because the Image comic was showing.
Ripper. Yeah, that's what I was thinking when I saw it. I was like, wow, inner John Ripper right there.
Not really. Hold on. Inner John Ripper is much larger than life, which I liked. So I have him in a scale where he's on a large body and much bigger than his bro Buzzer.
Yeah.
I have him on a Slaughter body.
Oh, okay.
Or gung ho body. There's no shirt there, but I try to get as close to the Inner John uniform with the wrestling knee pads and the knife and everything. Still have a few touches and the glasses, but yeah, I am really enjoying the Image comic line and the fodder they're giving me for creativity. So to Hillbilly's earlier question, sometimes I'd say my inspiration comes from three things: the comics, then and now, the Sunbow cartoon, and my knowledge of military, all things military, which I still read a lot of military things from current people who have served. I keep up with stuff from the regiment I served in. I have a few buddies who are still active duty or are tuned in. So when things crack off, I can kind of get some insider info. And I choose all that to fuel my customs. And I just thought, in a worst case scenario, Cobra's defending the last stages of the headquarters. They might have to tell everybody, put this Viper gear on. We're about to be over.
Nice. They look great.
Thank you.
Newer customs.
All right, so this is where I kind of start getting into some Dreadnought stuff. The first one is Choir Boy. So basically, I was like, I had this head off of an obscure Hawkeye figure I picked up for next to nothing, and I was like, what? There's got to be some Dreadnoughts that just can walk right into a place and not have people be like, call the cops, right? Like if the second guy with the glasses and the red mohawk comes in, you're calling somebody. You're not even selling him a pack of gum. You're just like, this dude's gonna kill us, but if Choir Boy walks in and he doesn't have his crossbow or Bowie knife, you might be like, hey, if you've got a lady behind the counter, she might want to chat him up a little bit. Next thing you know, the Dreadnoughts take over the place. So I kind of went Choir Boy is the one who kind of gets in, and I've seen some people since do like a Dreadnought lawyer or take offs of that idea. And imitation is the finest form of flattery, they say. So I like it when I see something come out. And I've imitated some styles and things from other people. I'll take snapshots off Facebook and Instagram and be like, I need this part of the idea. So yeah. Then the next one is I think aptly named Mad Dog, because that head with the open mouth. He did not come with the chin beard. I gave him that. My first foray into using green stuff. Very frustrating.
Looks good.
Thank you. I think I cut the scars into his face because I was just so mad about the beard giving me trouble. And I was like, okay, I can hide the imperfections with the red. We all recognize the Naga hide body there with the blue jeans and the anarchy symbol. The symbol laser rifle. Are they a real military rifle? No, they're not. And they are not realistically working because you'd need a power pack for that laser and probably be super heavy to carry. I am not a fan of Naga Hide's current body. Sidebar, I'll be honest with you. I just made a Naga Hide in a smaller frame. I feel like a hunter is going to be a lot more agile. I used a Monkey Wrench, who's a little bit smaller than him, and I gave him camo pants because you're not wearing blue jeans on the Serengeti. Or hold on, Ronnie, do they wear blue jeans in the outback when they're hunting? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. So Mad Dog's just kind of like the guy you send in with the heavy armor and the AK, no buttstock on it. He's just hip firing, throwing those flashbangs. He's clearing the way for the smarter dreadnoughts to come in and do business. Our guy on
Cobb.
Hey, Cobweb. Our guy on the far right is Mason. That was a custom head that I got off of eBay, and I thought of Mason from The Rock. You know, kind of a shout out to Sean Connery. I had some police gear. I made him a little shiv there. I think I cut Snake Eyes' handle knife into a shiv, put him in that orange jumpsuit that I got off of Amazon, and he is in the middle of a prison riot. And that prison riot was Mason or Manson, very close. That prison riot was initiated by Zartan to get Mason out. We ain't wearing pants. All right, good to know. Mason basically was with Zartan back in the day and took the rap for something, and Zartan doesn't forget his friends. Even if he lets you do a long stint in the can, he will eventually break you out and give you your just desserts, your gold, your monies, whatever, your grape soda, whatever you had coming to you. So he was a fun build. He was a fun photo shoot and a fun backstory.
Yeah, I think out of these three, Mad Dog's my favorite. That one just speaks Dreadnought to me. But they're all good.
Yeah, he's definitely, like you said, in the stamp of the persona, and that's where I've had to kind of get imaginative and go a little bit out of the realm, you know, go a little bit left or right of center. Okay, here's some cool ones. Demolisher, first one there. He was a challenging but fun build, and I have since made another version of him using a gung-ho body because I wanted him bigger than that is actually a Valaverse head. It is, I built that vest. I have since bought a 3D printed one for the other one. It's just easier than gluing 6 grenades on. That is the chest of Raptor with all the markings acetone off. Obviously, I gave him a dirty look there. I went a little heavy with the
Wash.
with the tone, with the wash. Pretty sure Zartan's pants, and that's Tunnel Rat's pistol, crotch mounted sideways. I've heard of appendix carry. I've never really seen anybody do the crotch side mount carry. If we have an apocalyptic event, I may try it just for fun. You know, I do have a little air weight that I bought for sneaky sneak because I am definitely a concealed carry person. So yeah, he was fun, and I've sold a few of him. In fact, one guy bought 2 of them. So I'm like, is he reselling? But as I told Lady Spartan, she said, how do you feel about that? And I said, once they buy it, it's theirs. I said, if they want to smash it into hammer, it's their toy to have. So everybody knows and loves this next guy, the driver of the Thunder Machine, Thrasher. Not loving what I did with his hair there. I think I've gotten better at that since. I am loving his shoulder pads that I got from Collectible Carnage again. The belt buckle is from a Spawn figure, and I have cut up a lot of Spawn figures and made them into fodder for projects. That is a Valaverse body. I think Trigger on top, and not sure who on the bottom. That saw came from that little coffin you can get full of weapons on Amazon. I don't think it's available anymore. The spiked lacrosse stick also from Collectible Carnage. And the shin guards, I think I glued those back onto the boots that I probably pulled off of a Zartan figure. And I've made a few versions of him. I feel like it's getting better each time. I actually am getting ready to do a run of another Demolisher, another Thrasher, and another Burnout. Kind of get some old school names out there. Again, those haven't been made, and they're not in the pipeline that I know of. So I can probably get those done and get those a new home soon. And then, of course...
Todd's asking if acetone, does it damage the plastic?
So you put it on with a Q-tip a little bit at a time, and then I'm gonna share my method. I take makeup pads, spin in them, and then wipe them off because I don't want to go all the way over and get water. But yes, you should wipe. This all happens like a few steps from her desk, and she just works in the apartment, works from home, and I'm just over there just doing my thing when I'm off. And yeah, you got to wipe them off with something clean. And otherwise, if you let it sit or you put too much or rub it too deeply, it will start to change the skin tone. So alcohol will work sometimes to get lighter stuff off. It might get the tattoo and then there's no damage or worry. But if that doesn't work, go to the acetone. I always keep that on hand.
So a friend of mine, he got me to use, I think it's called Winsor Newton, to take off, and it doesn't damage the plastic.
I have heard of that and searched for it high and low and cannot get the right version because apparently they sell a different version now in mass that doesn't do what the original. Like it's not as good for our purposes.
Gotcha.
I think that's for you.
No, it says
For Lady Spartan.
You will have to tell her who Maxwell Sheffield
Yeah,
is.
I'm not familiar.
From The Nanny? Never watched The Nanny?
I'm familiar, but it was not something that I watched regularly. So,
But I think he does. Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
Like
I was gonna say he might have.
he went down the wrong road, obviously, but
Yeah.
Sorry, I was not able to answer that question for you.
that was the rich guy who was in charge of Fran Drescher. You know.
Well, yeah, I remember. Yes. I'm.
Fran Drescher, that was, not the voice, otherwise solid Italian lady right there. All right, so lastly, we have Heart Wrencher. Fun build. I actually built two versions of her. Built her going to the club version, and she had on kind of like a cat suit and a motorcycle helmet. So she was like riding to the club, and then she has her mechanics gear. Lady Spartan actually helped me a lot with this figure. Why don't you tell them about the shirt?
The shirt. Yeah, because we ordered a couple of those. So I was like, always have one on hand because something's going to go wrong. And it's those like shirts that they sell for those like busty, like Asian figures. So, but it was the right size. And so did a little cutting on the bottom to give it like a frayed look. And then also the sleeves too were a little bit longer. So they had to be kind of cut down. But yeah, it took a couple of tries on that and then did the RIT dye because it was white and just soaked it in the RIT dye to get the purple look to it.
And then when we tried to put it on, hey, level 7.
Level 7. Good morning.
When we tried to put it on her, it was starting to come apart and unravel. And I was like, are we gonna have to glue this? But then thankfully, the only good time that Zorana's bad arm joint came into play, popped it off and got that shirt on. And I was like, yes, thank you, lack of quality control on that line, and got that fixed, which by the way, there's some fixes for that. For those who don't know, a little bit of green stuff, you can put that on. It's kind of how I get hands into figures that they don't fit. If I put a hand into an arm and it's loose, I put a little bit of green stuff. I let it sit for 24 hours, then I heat it and it makes a peg. If it is too tight, then I just heat the crap out of the arm and pop the hand in as is. There you go. And also, if the hand doesn't match, spray paint it. If you hand paint it, it will come off as soon as you put a weapon on. There you go. Free tip. For those who don't know, like I said, I know there's a lot of people who are just getting into this, and I feel like there's a lot of gatekeeping with certain methods, and I am not one to do that. I will share because I have learned a lot from other people. And so with back to Heart Wrencher, that's a Shadow Cat head that I painted the hair on very tediously. I gave her that big diamond belly button. We got some jewels from Hobby Lobby.
I was going to say, yeah. Definitely.
And the wrenches were 3D prints. So I gave her that big one that she uses both for motorcycles and fending off knocks that she is not wanting the affections of. And that boom, her overalls flap is from the AEW wrestler Ortiz. And I have used him extensively for parts. He comes with camo pants, orange knee pads, and that was obviously an orange bib, and it's been painted purple with the boom she has on there. I'm kind of wanting to make another one of her, but I feel like the character is so unique and lovely that I don't want to disrespect the build. It's one of those things I kind of revere, so I'm almost in revering a figure. I also fear it. I fear that I won't do it justice. A little philosophical view for you.
They all look great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love the soft goods edition, and I know he uses it periodically, but I'm always like, ooh, what about soft goods for this? Because I'm like, I like that element, kind of like the Mason figure, yeah. Because I think we hunted that down on
and that jumpsuit,
Amazon.
I had to change the legs on the figure because the jumpsuit was not a 112 actual fit. It was a 112 skinny jean fit. And I was like, okay, we're just going to have to like slim these legs down. And I wasn't dremeling at that time because I think the next time I use a pair of soft goods is I'm dremeling the legs down to whatever thinness they need to be, popping the jeans or whatever on. And then, you know, what you don't see won't hurt you. Put it that way.
Give them a little bit of liposuction. Maybe.
Little lipo Dremel. Yeah.
Yeah. Joe, you're right. Soft goods,
I
they
like
just really add so much. Jezza had a question. Have you ever made a Sunbow Lady J?
I have not. And Sunbow Lady J was sexy as all get out. That was one of my favorite characters in the show, probably because, you know, when I was growing up and puberty was right on the horizon. Was never a Scarlet fan. I know redheads are crazy, so I know not to mess with that. My father taught me that very young. But I've disassembled many a Lady J to help this character right here and some of my other knocks. So
that must have been your earlier version. I don't see her
yeah,
belly button ring.
Yeah. And she's got the crisscross belt. So yeah, so we have a Zanya here. I feel like I did like probably what what Lady Spartan here did to her Barbies as a kid, as I cut that hair a little short.
Yeah. We all cut the hair. Yeah.
And I did stay true to the pants. Like I said, I've made 6 of her, so there's been different versions. I even did one with a Tila from Masters of the Universe, the new side cut. I kind of had like a little Miley Cyrus flair before she got really crazy looking. And the skin tone was a little off, which bugged the crap out of me, but somebody did want her and gave her a home. But yeah, my version is so the thing about Zanya that bothers me while we're on this, the cornrows. Okay. I have read extensively and have the comics. He is. You don't have to ask. Zanya never had that hairstyle. Zanya was straight hair, kind of looked like a normal chick until the cover of the comic of her second comic story arc, and they gave her that haircut. And I'm like, when did this happen? And so like when they made that 3D head, I was like, no, not using that. That face looks ugly. I noticed Hasbro got a little bit away from that. They kind of went halfway between normal / you know, what the comic put out. So I'm going to buy that figure, obviously, because it's a Dreadnought figure. I don't care that the chameleon comes with it. That's cool and all, but I'm going to buy the Zanya figure, even if I say I'm not. In fact, I think I did say publicly I'm not, and I'm going to. Like Joe knows. Like I'm going to walk by it. I'm going to grab them all, walk out of the Target, and be like, losers. No, but exactly. You know, she definitely went heavy on the green all the way. But I liked her as a cult character, and she's fun. I've given her different melee weapons and different firearms over the versions that I've done. I should probably do a post where I show like all the versions kind of back to back. And then Spirit, that's my first Night Hunter Spirit. I did one where he was shirtless as well, and he had the white paint all the way down. Obviously inspired by Johnny Depp from the Lone Ranger there. And I just didn't like the fact that he was wearing a bright blue shirt. Again, that's a shoot me color on the battlefield. So I was like, he's Grog Girl, yes. He's going out at night and taking scalps, as he should. That would be a good Night Force Spirit right there. I was Night Forcing it before they even came up with that. They owe me royalties. They owe me back money. No.
There you go. Latest customs.
The bats. Yeah. So I had heard somebody talk about like, wouldn't it be cool if there was, you know, Dreadnought bats? This is my second one. The first one I made had a mohawk of AR-15 magazines welded onto his helmet. You're interested to see a Sasquatch? No. And I was all over the woods because I sucked at land navigation. So the only time I did well with that is when I took a GPS from the commo room and I cheated. And I told people, you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Found all my waypoints, by the way. So yeah, Joey was the first Dreadnought bat, and this was the second one in the line, Rust Bucket. Originally, I was going to have him running the Gatling gun a la Jesse Ventura Predator style, and then I went in a different direction. He's basically got the 2 high-powered pistols. If you look closely on his waist, he does have handcuffs, so he can procure prisoners. He can go inside and detonate the Claymore mine attached to his gasoline can and just self-destruct. I don't know what happened where he pissed off Zorana and caught that knife in the dome. But I mean, I think we all know.
Story.
Yeah, we all know not to get in her crosshairs. So clearly, like, he either said or did the wrong thing. I don't know what happened there. And one thing I like to point out is I gave him backpack straps. It's a pet peeve of mine when Joes have a backpack and there's no defined way of how that is attached. So the Claymore Gridiron Customs. I gave him the flashbangs from Naugahyde. The handcuffs are obviously from Law and Order, and he's got overlays from Bad Mother Tattoos. I haven't given them a shout out yet this podcast, but he knows I buy a lot of stuff from him. Love it. I did try to rust it up really well with the paint. Gave him the shoulder gauntlet there and used the damaged faceplate because Lady Spartan said, "What's up with that weird eye?" And I said, "Oh, the bat got damaged. That's the damaged head that came with it."
It looks like a bird face.
Said it looked like a bird face. Yeah, he does look a little bird face. Maybe Zorana was like, "Get your bird face out of my face," and was like, and left the knife there as a statement. I don't know. They do what they want to do when I'm not around, And then he's got the Cobra logo because clearly he was taken from a Cobra lab or unit and reprogrammed.
I just want to say hi to Lilith. Haven't seen Lilith in a while.
I love Lilith's avatar.
Yeah.
Riptide, very, very recent. I saw, besides being administrative, Lady Spartan will also send me figures and ideas and say, could you make something out of this? Could you use the parts from this? And as the operations side of the company, she is very frugal and looks for deals. And it's like, hey, this guy's only like $12. Like, what could you use off of him? And I saw the head on a McFarlane figure and I thought, okay, this could be somebody, maybe a little tuning up. Who was it that told me he looked like the Zohan? And Don't Mess with the Zohan, Adam Sandler. And I was like, yeah, he kind of does actually now that I see that, but the tougher version, because let's face it, like Adam Sandler always makes himself way tougher in his movies than reality, where he would just get like smacked and told to sit down. I like his humor, but he's definitely got the grandiose self-hero worship. So you get opinions with the figures with me. So Riptide, he is a former Navy sailor. And he served on a destroyer with Shipwreck way back in the day. And they got some old beef. Again, I don't know what it was. I wasn't there. I wasn't on the ship. I'm just telling you what I heard. And sooner or later, they're going to mix it up on the battlefield because, Navy guys that got beef, they're not letting it go. He got that koi fish sleeve probably in Japan somewhere when he was on duty.
I'm just making this up as you go along, aren't you?
No, I already made that up. That's been there. He likes the Thompson machine gun because fun story about Uncle Clutch's pops, who was in the Navy for many years. He served in both the Korean and the Vietnam conflict, and he was on a PBR patrol boat River. And he told me when we were in the armory one time on the base that he used a Thompson because they were able to procure older weapons. And I thought the coolest thing ever was my dad firing a Thompson at the VC from a PBR. And I was like, that's pretty baller. I'm not going to lie. Like, you're not my friend because you're always telling me what not to do, but today we're okay. So I gave him that Thompson in honor of my pops. And he's kind of like, one of Zanzibar's people. He's working the rivers. He's working the seas. He's on a tanker in one photo. He's got the machete. We got a guy with a crotch mounted pistol. That's becoming more popular apparently among the dreadnoks. He's got his Zartan ink showing his loyalty. And I feel like Zartan is going to make the guys get ink of him in the lower ranks and the more distant charters, kind of almost as like a stamp, right? Like, show me your loyalty. You're not going to get a dreadnought tattoo. You're going to get a tattoo of my face.
Maybe it's more like a
hero worship.
No, dang it, my brain's not working. Damn it, help me out here.
The seer,
like if you're going to brand a brand. It's morning, damn it.
Riptide's got pants like Eric's shirt. Yes.
Maybe I know that's pretty heinous, right, to get a brand, but whatever.
Maybe so.
I feel like Zartan would do that.
Yeah, I wanted to go with the cool urban pants there. I was originally going to build this guy off of a slaughter body, but when I put the head on, I was like, ooh, no, not good scale. The head looked too small. And I actually fixed that head. I gave him a darker beard and mustache. It was kind of light. It looked a little frilly. I made his earring with just basically a dot of chrome paint. And yeah, it just kind of came to me as it went. It just kind of developed. And yeah, he'll probably be going up for sale very soon to find a home and cause mayhem in someone's Dreadnought collection.
That first one is my first visual rendition that I'm working on with chat. So again, chat is, I'm new to it and I'm trying not to get frustrated with it, but he will tell you, like, I just sit over here on the couch and just complain. And that first one, and then I started doing some other ones, and like, I don't have a name for mine yet, but he's associating obviously fire and destruction with dreadnoughts, which is not inaccurate, but like everything I was giving him, he would like have the fire in the background.
Same format,
yeah. So I'm having to kind of segue him a little bit to get some variation. But yeah, that was the first one that I've done. So I'm trying to knock those out and get some ordered.
All right. So Lilith says you need to do a Dreadnought from Australia with nod to Melbourne Maulers. MC Torch was a part of. Okay. So Lilith, I actually have done 3 from Queensland chapter, Longshot Jack, and I can't remember the other name of the guy, but I will put some things up of them. And I had kind of like a little Queensland charter group and Longshot Jack sold in a 2-pack with his buddy. And it was interesting. I bought the figure from someone off of eBay who called it a custom, and I just made it better. And then resold it for more money. And you know why? Because that's what Dreadnoughts do. Like, hey, I'm in it to win it, baby. So yeah, he made a good figure. It had a Marvel head on there that had the long mutton chops. Somebody will probably know who that is. I don't remember at this time. I took a lot of blows to the head in some of my former professions, so short-term memory is Lady Spartan saying it's morning. I just don't remember things sometimes. So, but yeah, a lot of fun building Riptide. And yes, she is working on the magnets. And so basically what will happen is you'll get the figure and the magnet. And we're probably going to sell magnets at Joe Fest. There's a little preview there, because the only magnets I see at Joe Fest are the bendy ones that look like cartoon character versions. And I like those. I have those. I use Beachhead to cover the microwave light at night, so it's not bright in the kitchen when I have to walk through to go to the bathroom. I have Dreadnoughts on my refrigerator, but we're going to take these up a notch. These are not going to be your grandpa's magnets. Okay. Well, we're going to need to talk about it because I don't know. I've not been to your fine country.
You need education, right?
Yeah. If I do, I might not want to leave. All right. So we got Black Belle here. Joe has her on the way to him as we speak. He asked me which motorcycle to buy for her and then bought both of them. So I was kind of like, why you ask me then? You know, like, he's just going to get both. But I'm sure he'll find a use for the other one. If not, I could take it out of his hands because I always need bikes for my Joe. So Black Belle, basically I saw a wrestling figure in a box that was torn to shit, and I just was like, I'm buying this. She's cool. She's hot. We're doing this. I like the chain she was wearing. Again, she didn't have pants. Most female wrestlers have just booty shorts and a top, and I was like, you can't ride a bike like that. Lady Spartan got on my bike one time and burned her leg on the can wearing shorts, so she can speak from experience. And I don't ride anymore.
Not pleasant.
And I did not ride a Harley. I rode a Rice Rocket because I thought that was cool back then. And I did not die, and I never dropped the bike, so that's why I sold it. Anyway, Black Belle. So Black Belle is kind of like a road captain, which Evil Dookie right now is just like grabbing his head and being like, no. Because he actually did ride and was in a club for several years. But this is my world, my headcanon, as he would say. So she
oh man.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, she's a tough chick. That chain that she wears is not just decorative, it's a secondary weapon. That's right. It is disease. She has a cut where she has a really cool lion's head skull on the back. She has hands from, I believe, Zorana. And again, I had to kind of adjust those and give them a little bit of peg work. I left the choker on, but took a lot of the crisscross straps off her top. I gave her that little, in the middle picture, you kind of see a little peeking out, the little female devil tattoo. It's really only ink she's got. And I found that Marvel head is from, so a good friend of mine, John, who runs Top Fun Retro 3D Toys. I always give him a shout out. We've actually hung out, played Joe's together, sorted Joe's. I went to his house to visit, and basically he said, hey, put as much stuff as you want in your carry-on bag. And yeah, I sorted a lot of goodies, and that head was one of them. And so I painted the front of her hair red and left the rest brown. And that is where that came from. And Joe Ara just saw her and was like, hey, I'm in love. I got to have that. So we did a little side deal.
Let's see.
I just posted this guy yesterday, but I've literally been sitting on him for months. Stonehawk and Grimm, a McFarlane figure, Nightwolf from the Mortal Kombat line. I've made 3 different figures from him, and I've actually made a version of Shadow Tracker, which has not been shown or debuted yet, but will. And I had another Indian tracker that worked for Cobra. And the wolf I used with a lot of heating and stretching and patching. That is Junkyard's harness, obviously. But the wolf is named Grimm, 2 M's, not 1. And he is trained to basically protect and listen to Stonehawk. And he wears backup equipment. So if Stonehawk gets in a bad way, there's rounds for his holstered shoddy, there's magazines for his weapon, and there is a med kit and a pistol. And of course I had to think through, well, what if someone got a hold of this wolf? Could they take the pistol out and use it on the wolf? No, they cannot, because the pistol is only tuned to the palm of Stonehawk and will only work for him. And it's basically a last-ditch weapon. If he's got to defend himself and he's torn up laying on the ground, Grimm will come over and let him get that weapon out, the med kit, whatever, and then stand in front of his master like he is here. And I like the straddling canine kind of pose that I did for him there, and just basically, protect his leader at all costs. And the background on Stonehawk is he's a former Vietnam veteran. He did a lot of tracking and LERP work in Vietnam and was kind of disillusioned with how the American Indians were being treated in the U.S., especially at that time frame. And of course, Cobra Commander came along and said, hey, you're disillusioned. You're my type of person. Let me tell you what I can do for you. And he was like, I like it. And he's like, can I hurt people? And he's like, you're my type of person even more now. Let's talk. Let's get you a contract signed. So Stonehawk is firmly in the ranks of Cobra, but he prefers to work only with Grimm.
And I just want to say good morning to Gaz. Always good to see Gaz.
That was the guy we showed at the beginning of the show. That was his AI rendering. That is Powder Keg. I really like the design that the AI made of the skull with the dreadlocks on the back of his vest. I don't have that as an overlay, sadly. So I was like, but I did know that I could fix that snowboard up quite a bit. And I actually had to buy an old school snow serpent from someone on eBay, because before I got really heavily into this, I didn't know to keep every single thing I would not use. And then I would make the cardinal sin of throwing something away or giving it away without even trying to trade to a fellow collector or something. I might give it to a friend's kids or something like that, play with. And I was like, how do I not have a snowboard when I at one time had 4 snow serpents? So I did not. And then I realized the new snow serpent, the cheaper one, the easier to procure one, did not have the parts I needed to fit the way this one did. And one thing I like about this one is on the back, there's no peg hole. I covered it with green stuff, used a toothpick, drew the grates in it for the fur, and then whited it back out. Because I told Lady Spartan, I said, this looks weird. Like, I can't live with this. She's like, you gonna fix it? I was like, yeah. And she goes, why does he not have enough clothes on?
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. Yeah.
Jet's asking, do I have a website where you can buy your customs? I don't have a website. I usually just do everything through eBay, or on Instagram. I'll just honestly cut people a deal, because then I don't have to give money to the overlord.
Yep.
So like right now I have 3 that are on Instagram that I'm just like, hey, I'm basically doing, 20% off of these because I'll just charge somebody, I usually only charge a little bit over what it costs me for parts, and I don't even know how to equate labor. I'm just trying to keep the money going to either buy things that I want for my collection or buy more parts. Green stuff is what? It is clay that comes in a stick of blue and yellow and blue make green, and you rub it together and it becomes usable and hardens after a certain amount of time. I did buy a cheaper version at the hobby store recently that I've not tried yet, and they're both the same color and they're just labeled 1 and 2. So very good, useful item. Not cheap, but it does the job, and it will harden in 24 hours. If you try to use it before then, it might not.
So where to find you?
Yes. So it all started with Instagram, and a little note for you guys. So March 24th of last year is when I sold my first figure, and it's when I kind of got serious about this and kind of stepped into the public realm. And March 24th of this year will obviously be a year, and I'm trying to celebrate that by being at 700 Instagram followers, which we're closing in on, 200 Facebook followers, which we've already achieved, and 30 on YouTube. And that's a very low number, but it's because I don't have many videos out and I'm still very new. So I am going to put out more content. I'm going to talk about how I made figures, certain ones, parts, techniques, etc. I don't have the production value that some of you guys do, and I don't know that I will, but I just like to share the information and try to make it a little fun with my presence. So it went Instagram, I got back on Facebook, which we're showing here, and then I turned my YouTube into this, and then of course the eBay page.
So Paul's asking, do you do commission work?
Yes, I do. What I do is I like to hear the idea of the person, what they want, and get as much info from them. Then I go into kind of my imagination lab and see if I can do it. And if I need to procure a part, like if they want something where I know I can't use a head that I have and I might have to buy the head, then I make sure I give them that in the estimate. I give them a longer time frame than I need, and I'll usually do half up front and half upon completion. And I've done that for a few people with Dreadnoks and a couple of Joes, and it's come out pretty good. I mean, our rating on eBay is 100%. There's a lot of really nice feedback on there. I haven't had anybody really shit on anything I've done yet, so I haven't had to go and have a good cry. But, if that happens, I'll take it with a grain of salt. So craft stores or Hobby Lobby? Hobby Lobby.
Hobby Lobby.
Never thought I'd get this man in the Hobby Lobby. He was like, "Can we stop at the Hobby Lobby?"
There's only 2 aisles I need to go in.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you never know what you can find. And I was like, dude, you got to go down and look at the dollhouse stuff. I was like, because
that's the other aisle.
That's the aisle where you can find the right size, items.
Right. That's what I found. I found a lantern for a guy to hold in one of them. So yes, eBay is Lady Spartan 3. 265 items sold. I was trying to figure out the other day how many figures I've made and sold. It is probably more than that, because I have sold some offline, and some of the time I have sold figures in a 2-pack or whatever. So when going back to get all these photos to send to Joe, I was like, man, I've made a lot of stuff. But it's been fun.
So Todd's wanting to make sure he gets the green stuff from Hobby Lobby.
Gotcha. No, not from Hobby Lobby. That's where you would get the knockoff version, which, like I said, I can't speak on. The green stuff, I get that at a specific gamer store that sells Citadel paints. So it's called Meeple Madness. But anywhere that sells Army Painter items, it's an Army Painter item.
Have you looked? Is it Amazon? Maybe. I don't know.
It might be on Amazon, but it's going to probably be higher price because they're getting it from somebody like a hobby store who's going to upcharge it.
Specific, yeah.
All right. Well, lots of great stuff. Yeah, I'm not the biggest Dreadnought fan, but I do like them, and I can see where all those would slot right in with the Dreadnoughts. So that's cool.
The reason why I kind of pivoted towards them is now the military is a lot looser with things like hair and beard regulations. But when I came up as a Ranger, every week I had to have my hair high and tight, buzzed. I have black hair. So if I needed a haircut every week by the specific barber that we had to go to, there were no beards. Tattoos were somewhat limited at the time. Uniform regulations were the same across the board. We weren't all wearing gear that we wanted to. There was a lot of things we had to follow. So taking the Dreadnoks having a lot of military skill and varied weapons and equipment, plus the punk rocker style, it kind of spoke to me. Like I said, I got all my tattoos after I got out of service. 1, I could do what I wanted to, and 2, I had the money to do it. So I envisioned the Dreadnoks as like, they've got the funds and they've got the will. and they're just doing whatever they want with it. It's free will gone wild. So that's kind of what appeals to me. But then I still have my military knowledge. So in my world, they win a lot because, you know, they're using tactics and they're overwhelming their enemy with violence of action, surprise, you know, just looking crazy, you know, things like that.
Yeah. The one thing I like about the Dreadnoks in the comics is basically Zartan just points. They don't care who they're fighting. They're just going to go fight them. And I like that.
I only regret that they never had them take money from the Joes or the good guys, because they did say they would fight for the highest bidder. And Zartan is clearly about that dollar. So I always thought, wouldn't it be cool if they went a direction with that? And who knows, the Image Comics may go with that. And if anybody's following the Image Comics right now, General Hawk is not what he seems.
Yes. But I still like the Larry Hama run in Image Comics, and it's a whole lot different. Do you use airbrush gun?
I have not, and I've thought about it many times. I had a friend who wanted to like give me one, and I'm just like, honestly, spray paint is just as easy to do things large like pants, torsos, and I've gotten a lot better with my brush work and sealing and matte finishing stuff. So I don't know if I will. I don't really have the room for it right now. Same thing with 3D printing. John at Top Fun has tried to get me to take a printer, like just here, take it, have it. And I'm like, where am I going to put it, dude? Like in my bathroom? Like I don't have room for it. Maybe one day. But I was like, why when I can just have you send me grenades and guns, you know? So
I've tried to talk him into airbrushing. He's just like, I don't know. I'm like,
you guys got a better chance of getting Dreadnought short stories from me sooner than me airbrushing.
I think that'd be better than airbrushing.
The dog is in favor of it. So
I have 4 dogs and they're losing their stuff right now. I don't know why.
we've had many in our time, so we understand.
Is there anything you want people to know before we get out of here?
We will be at Joe Fest. We will be working at the table with Top Fun Retro 3D. He will be selling weapons. I will be selling figures. There'll be some vehicles or drones interspersed among them. Most things will be for sale. Lady Spartan will probably have some magnets. We will both be in costume, different ones on different days. She emulates towards CoverGirl, and I emulate towards Clutch. I feel like we would be like older and married in the Joe universe because Clutch just kept trying. And sooner or later you hit. You know, sooner or later you're getting in there. So then we will also both be Dreadnoks on one day, and we're working on our costumes currently. Pretty far along with that. You're welcome, sir. I enjoyed it. They let me shoot things and blow things up for money. So, but yeah, I will be Sledge. That is my Dreadnought persona. And Lady Spartan will be Mixer because her side hobby is making adult beverages of the awesome variety, up to and including she has a bar book. So we both have very different interests, but also some that intersect. And let's see, one last thing I want people to know is Lady Spartan is into cigars like me, into firearms like me, will watch a war movie with me, and likes to work out and listen to me talk about Joe's, where I walk over and I go, look what I just made. Check this out. So I am very blessed to have a partner so supportive and so fun.
He just has to let me help him be organized. Not that he's not organized, but when you live in a apartment that's less than 1,000 square feet, you have to get really, really creative. So yes, we've gotten really creative. So, you know, he has access to a lot of his stuff here. To make sure, you know, he can still enjoy his hobby even in, you know, a smaller space. So
I'm sure all of you have dumped a pile of backpacks and gear on the floor and known you're coming back to it sooner or later. So it is organized. You just know not to walk over.
It's called an organized mess, but that's okay. That's okay. You know, you just have to say like, you know what, it's fine. He's going to pick it up. He knows where to put it.
Yep.
Just have to learn to be, you know,
proceed with caution.
Yeah, don't step on anything.
Favorite cigar. Cuban made Monte Cristos. I just brought some back from Grenada. Take that, America. You didn't catch me. No, I smuggled 20 back. They didn't even check me at customs. I was like so disappointed. No,
Cool side after
I like
right.
What is the brand that I always mispronounce?
Avo.
Avo. Avo, and I'm a Connecticut Leaf guy. So I don't go too dark because then I'm going to get, be like, and I am a brown liquor guy. Rum and bourbon are my thing. So.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, everybody, when we get to 500 subs, we're going to give away. Let me make this big. The Zoocon exclusive Monster Force figure still in the package.
Oh, snap.
Nice.
So, if you know anybody who is free to sub, send them our way. We'll get there faster.
Cool.
Nice. Good morning. Does anybody got anything they want to say before we roll out of here? Because I'm terrible at ending shows.
Well, we've really enjoyed it,
Yeah.
and we appreciate you guys having
Thanks
us on.
for having us.
Getting to know a lot of people in the community lately, and that is the other awesome side of this. I've unfortunately for me, like most of my friends don't live nearby, and I've made more friends through you guys. And unfortunately, again, they're not nearby, but you can communicate with people.
We'll bring you some grenade and rum.
Yeah,
it's quite yummy.
And some ting.
And some ting.
But yeah, I've enjoyed meeting all the new people in it, and it's been kind of like you reunite with people that have the same childhood fascination. And John from Retro Choice, he is probably 10 hours away, and my friend Jason from childhood, who went in the Navy when I went in the Marine Corps. Kid was misguided. I don't know what to tell you. I love him. No, he actually served with distinction for over 20 years and was a Mustang, which means he went from enlisted to officer, and he knows I love him. Just so you guys know, the person I went into McDonald's to talk to a girl for and met this lady was Jason. So Jason is responsible for me meeting the love of my life. So he forever has my friendship and loyalty and fealty. But yeah, it's hard having friends far away, so you've got to stay in touch with them. And I would say for all the men out there who are listening, the hobby is great, but don't forget the things that matter other than the hobby. If you get really deep into it, are you taking care of the responsibilities and the people that are around you, supporting you, that are helping you through your disease, right? Like Joe says, like when you're buying things, are you taking care of not just your bills, but are you taking care of the people that matter? I'm going to tell you guys, I've learned a lot in the last year and a half about life and myself. And, all the things I've done and all the things I've been through, they're cool and all, but what really matters is the people in your life who are supporting you. And as a former cop, I can tell you, they can be taken away like that. So don't forget that, and make sure those people know that they're important. They know that they matter. And that can be your friends. Like, Eric has been a very good friend to me since he met me at Joe Fest, and has been very kind to me and made me feel welcome. And he's not a gatekeeper. He's an awesome dude. And he's introduced me to, people like Casey and Matt and Joe. And, I value that very highly. Yeah.
Eric's the guy turn loose on people. Hey, go get them on the show. Go talk to them. Because I'm shy. Eric is not. And that's why it works. Are you talking, Eric?
Are you on mute?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Eric is a village idiot. I don't care. I'll go out and I'll make a fool of myself.
He's always like, hey, you want, I'll reach out to Larry Hama. I'm like, Larry Hama's not coming on the show.
Maybe Lady Spartan can convince him.
I don't know. I think he's just absolutely cute.
Larry Hama is awesome.
He is
I talked to
adorable.
him.
He had a whole conversation with her, and I just stood there holding my toy. Like,
I had him sign my cover girl. I was like, please sign this for me.
he was telling her about his acting career, the whole thing, and I was like,
He has a very interesting.
I was like, I can leave if you guys got more to talk about.
I was really just trying to get him to talk about like something to convince him to like write, to like do something. And I was like, it didn't get quite there. I was like,
okay,
that's all right. He's going to be there this year, so we'll try again.
Yes.
I went to talk to him, and he looked at me like I had snakes coming out of my ears. He's like, huh? What?
I actually gave him a custom too. I gave him a customized Cobra chemical weapons trooper. So I might make something for him this year.
Yeah, he just looked at me like, I don't understand what you're trying. I don't understand the words that are coming out of your mouth. But then again, a lot of people don't get that from me.
That's a good tip, Ronnie. I also have gone up to a lot of lines and handed out the postcard and said the tagline to people. And Lady Spartan will do it. She's a little shyer than me, but I think she's getting better. She didn't realize that like you guys seeing her in like a cover girl outfit is kind of like bringing childhood to life, because I saw a lot of people would look after she walked away. And she actually met a younger version of cover girl, and I took a picture of the two of them. It was so cute. And
my biggest fan was the girl that was there volunteering out. What is she doing? Like
she was checking people in.
I know. And I was just like, oh my God, you're so sweet.
She came up and she goes, "Are you cover girl?" And she goes, "Yes." And she goes, "Can I get my picture with you? I just abandoned my post to come see you." And I was like, get over there. And I put a Wolverine in the background of their picture. So it's pretty
nice.
That's cool.
It was cute.
All right.
But yeah, we've enjoyed it, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
and I'm I'll be tuning in for other episodes. And I'm kind of hoping, I'm talking with Joe about being on some stuff more. And I'm actually looking at putting something together. When I put myself into AI to make a Joe, it came up with a really cool version of me, as it usually does, of people. And I said, okay, give me a code name. And it said Ironclad. And I was like, okay, that's pretty badass. I like that. But I've got a thing where I may kind of do a little segment where I answer questions from people about military service, men's style. I got pretty stylish in my older years, and I know I'm wearing a t-shirt right now. Relationship stuff, Joe stuff, even O-ring stuff, because I can research with people beforehand. And I'm going to call it Ironclad's Answers. And that way the tagline will be, hey, and remember, guys, these answers. I want to bring something. I want to bring something a little more social and a little more fun than just the toy stuff, but still keep it lighthearted. And like I said, I think I bring a unique perspective of being what people think they're going to get when they see me, and then what they get when they talk to me. So I want to bring that out a little more. And I will probably have Lady Spartan every once in a while do a guest answer. If somebody says like, "What should I get my wife for her anniversary?" And I'll be like,
toys.
Yeah, not a GI Joe.
Now that depends. That could be a different answer for
True.
right? Yeah.
My wife likes Care Bears. That's what I meant.
I remember them.
Care Bears.
Saturday morning cartoon show.
Yeah. But we really appreciate you guys coming on.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Uncle Clutch, Lady Spartan, you're welcome back anytime.
Yep.
Matt, we need to see you more on here. People have spoken. They have spoken. It's all, they want Matt back. And if anybody's available, 3 p.m. Eastern, me and Max are doing a live unboxing of Nacelle Toy Star Trek figures. So that's going to be fun. I will put the link up for that later, and hopefully people come back for that. If not, watch the replay. If you don't currently subscribe, please subscribe. Share it. If you got friends, make them subscribe. If you don't like them, make them subscribe.
Tell your grandparents.
Yeah. All right. And with all that, everybody have a great day.
Hey.
Thank you so much.
Happy birthday, Casey.
Yeah, happy birthday, dude.
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday, Casey.
Enjoy the day.
I will. My granddaughter's here.
Thanks.
All right.